Welcome back to Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter after show broadcasting from the highest tower in Hogwarts. This is your resident Ravenclaw, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. And yeah, this is the one. This is the episode everything's been leading to. Not just in Goblet of Fire, but the entire series. It all shifts here. This isn't a recap episode per se. This is reacting, processing, and witnessing. Because what happens in these chapters, it doesn't just move the story forward, it technically changes what the story is. So let's jump into these chapters. Chapter 30, The Pensieve. So Harry walks into Dumbledore's office, thinking that he's just going to talk. And instead, when Dumbledore leaves the room, he stumbles onto something way deeper. It's the Pensieve. And I love this so much because it's not just cool magic, it's an insight into Dumbledore. This is a man who literally has too many thoughts, too many connections, too many memories, and instead of letting that overwhelm him, he steps outside of it. I think any of us could wish to be able to do that in one way or another, pensive or not. Harry studies it, and he accidentally gets pulled into that process. Not hearing about the past, but actually literally seeing it and reliving it. Not in a way where he's time traveling, it's not affected that way, but it's a kind of a direct movie memory type deal. So he comes across these trials where it kind of shows what the world really looks like. The first thing you notice is the world isn't clean. Karkaroff is up there naming names and trying to save himself, trying to name out other Death Eaters. I mean, the fact that Karkaroff was a Death Eater, that's just pretty crazy. No loyalty, no backbone, just survival on his end. I mean, from what we know about Azkaban, nobody really would want to be there for more than even a day. So I'm sure most people would say what they could to get the heck out of there. But it just kind of shows Karkaroff's true colors. And then you get Ludo Bagman. And this is where things get interesting. Because Bagman doesn't feel like he belongs there. He's charismatic, likable, almost clueless in a way. And what we learn is, yeah, he passed some information to the Death Eaters. But he didn't realize what he was doing. So he thought he was helping, and the crowd loves him anyway. So you kind of lock that in mentally. Bagman equals flashy, friendly, not evil, just careless. Then we swing hard the other way. Barty Crouch. No warmth, no forgiveness, just control. And when his own son is on trial, begging, Crouch doesn't hesitate. You are no son of mine. And it's kind of a traumatic scene we're watching here. This kid is breaking down, begging his father and mother for just some mercy, and it does not do anything. It's one of those lines that sticks with you. You are no son of mine, because it tells you everything about him. This is a man who values order over humanity. And the scariest part is we don't even fully know if his son is guilty. Then we have Neville's parents. And that's quite a reveal, isn't it? Neville's parents aren't dead. We learn that they're alive, but completely gone, insane, tortured into insanity. And it just reframes Neville instantly. Because Harry's always been the tragic one. He's always been the one everyone knew as a legend, and was the one who was affected by Lord Voldemort, yet affected Lord Voldemort back. And Neville's living in a reality where his parents exist and don't even know who he is. I mean, come on. That's tragic for such an innocent character. Kind of show why maybe he's a little bit off sometimes. I'd probably be the same exact way as Neville if I had parents who were living but completely in the head, messed up to the point where they don't know who their own actual son is when he's standing right in front of them. That is heavy for a kid to bear. That's why he's always with his grandma, and it all makes sense. But I think that's pretty much one of the most tragic things I've heard about a character we didn't really expect coming, and yet at the same time it makes sense, and it's kind of hiding there in plain sight the whole time. Then we have the Scar connection. Dumbledore drops something subtle but huge. Harry's Scar reacts to Voldemort. This is actually out of the Pensieve, by the way. Not just proximity, but emotion, hatred. And this means this connection isn't symbolic, it's real. And that's sitting in the background as we head into the final task. We learn that Snape was once a Death Eater, which is surprising yet not, but it is at the same time. Because why would Dumbledore hire a Death Eater? And Harry even asked Dumbledore, why would you trust Snape? You know, if he was a Death Eater before, what makes you trust him now? And Dumbledore's very sternly says, that's between me and Snape. So I think that's real special, and I like that because Snape is a complex character. We don't know a lot about him. It's always been kind of like he's a jerk professor, but we don't know his story that well. So we know a little bit about it, and it's definitely got a lot of twists and turns so far. So I'm sure that will be information that is expanded upon later, whether it be this book or future books. Dumbledore kind of hints that this conversation is over with Harry, and he wishes him luck in the third task, which is the name of chapter 31, The Maze. It's way quieter than you or Harry would expect. It's not chaos, it's tension. Everything feels like it's watching, testing. And Harry trained with Hermione and Ron to learn a ton of new spells to help Harry get through the maze a little bit easier, and spells that kind of cover the whole board, so he's not completely helpless if he comes across something he feels unprepared for. He's not going to be unprepared. He has these new spells. So I like the spell that he uses that shows him north, because he knows he has to move northwest towards the trophy. And I like how each obstacle isn't just physical. It's kind of like different kinds of pressure. The Boggart Dementor, Harry handles it. That's growth. The mist flipping the world upside down, that's loss of control. He almost sent up the red sparks. He was thinking about it, at least. It's total loss of control. Scroots, raw danger. And we've been kind of preparing for these the whole book, as Hagrid has had his students, at least in Harry's class, care to them and take care of them and make them grow to a point where now they are attacking and a problem in the maze versus Harry and the other competitors. Raw danger. And then we have the Sphinx thinking under pressure. And it's not random. It's completely layered. And this chapter goes by, the whole sequence goes by a little bit faster. Those trials come and go, and that's pretty much all we get up until we hear this little bit about Crumb, which kind of changes his character a lot. We get that moment that shifts everything inside the maze. Crumb uses Crucio, one of the unforgivable spells. There's only 3 of them that we've learned, and that is one of them, and he uses it on Cedric Diggory. That's the moment it stops feeling like a competition, honestly, and that's just dark magic. So there's got to be real consequences to that, despite what may or may not happen at the end of this chapter. Harry steps in immediately, no hesitation, and that tells you who he is, way more than anything else in this maze. And then they reach the cup. Harry and Cedric together, but Cedric gets there first by a bit, and he wins straight up. And instead of taking it, he doesn't. They argue. They both try to give it to one another, and that moment is so pure. It's fairness, respect, and everything you really want this world to be. So when they decide to take it together, it feels right, it feels earned, and it's what makes what happens next hit even harder. Which brings us directly into chapter 32, Flesh, Blood, and Bone. No warning, no build-up. They grab the cup and they're gone. They're in some sort of graveyard. There's immense silence. Something is wrong. And then we hear, ever so slightly, kill the spare. So Cedric dies instantly after Avada Kedavra. It's so fast it almost doesn't even register. To Harry, to us, just moments ago we were in this kind of innocent yet very interesting competition, and now we're in a place where, is this part of the competition you're thinking? And then when Cedric dies, we know, and Harry knows, this is not right. There's no heroic moment here. There's no speech. He's just gone. Like, so fast, night and day. That's the shock. That's the moment this series really grows up. And Harry doesn't even get time to process it. He's tied up, and he's helpless. Wormtail's there. If only they caught him in the third book. He just got away. during that werewolf attack. And what follows is just dark. Not magical in a fun way, not adventurous, but like ritual darkness. Bone of the father, flesh of the servant, blood of the enemy. Each step worse than the last. The grave opening, Wormtail cutting his own hand. Jeez, Harry's blood being taken. And then that thing in the robes, barely human, something broken like a dark demented baby. And for a second, you almost hope it fails, as does Harry. He kind of like subtly, without saying it, knows in a way that this is like the worst horrible thing that could happen right here. He just hopes that it can end right here. But it doesn't, because this is what everything has been leading up to, this whole book, maybe even this whole series up to this point. Voldemort rises. Not a memory, not a shadow, but real. Standing in front of Harry. I'm not going to say this was anticlimactic, but in a sense, knowing that this is the action and the thing that comes in the movie as a result of Harry winning the cup with Cedric, it's so iconic, it's so memorable, that if you've even seen it once before, you can't get it out of your head what's happening or what's going to happen. However, a lot of the dialogue and what's to come in the next few chapters after Voldemort literally rises and is back in this moment of shock, it's kind of actually how the audience, I'm assuming, would react if they stopped here on like a cliffhanger. Oh man, that HBO series years from now is going to end on this moment. I feel it. He'll come back, and then that'll be a cut to next time on Harry Potter. And I pause reading here. I don't read past this point because that's where we're leaving this episode. I want to be fresh and deliver to you how I'm kind of feeling about all this. And well, honestly, if I had not known that this was going to happen, I would be completely shocked and not even knowing like what to think. I'd be thinking, wait, is this part of the task? No, Cedric's not dead. Harry's having one of his visions. He must be sleeping before the task even began. The task hasn't happened yet. No, it's real, and he's dead. And that's hard to swallow because in Harry Potter, we lose, but we don't lose. We don't have these, like, it wasn't like in Chamber of Secrets, all the people died. They were petrified. So that was close to being the most traumatic, awful thing that happened. But there's death now in the book, and Harry's witnessed it. And it's technically Harry's fault on the, well, let's just both take it. Cedric was going to give it to him. So if he put down his camaraderie and said, okay, thanks, I'll take it, he would have been taken there alone, and Cedric would have lived. And that's what you kind of want to think through a lot of the time, you know, is just me thinking, how could he have saved Cedric? And that's it. It's complex, it's scary, it's real, it grows up the whole series in a whole different way and kind of launches us into a new era of Harry Potter within these books. So I am excited that we're here in the books. I think leaving it here on a cliffhanger for us until we come back next week. I mean, I'm assuming a lot of people are either reading along or watching the show and listening to these episodes, you know, as they go as a companion or just one after the other. So it's not going to be that much of a climax, like, oh my God, let's do a week before we talk about this. But it's kind of fun for me to kind of pick the cliffhanger and end it there, because I really, really think that Voldemort Rising is maybe, I mean, not maybe, it's just the biggest moment so far in the series. This is everything we could have feared, everything that's been leading up to Voldemort, even knowing his name, he who must not be named. This is where it all culminates, and I think it's spectacular not knowing that it was coming at all. So that's it. That is our turning point. The tournament doesn't matter anymore. Nothing about Hogwarts feels safe anymore. And from here on out, this is a different story. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. What did you think of this episode? Give us a rating and a nice review, and it'll definitely be read on the show. And I mean that. I mean, we need you to rate it so we can get out to other people just like you who are listening to this. Thank you for being a part of this. It's honestly one of the funnest things I do. I'm really happy I started this podcast. I'm a little bit surprised that we're already finishing book 4. Makes me wonder if we will get through the rest of the series before the new show in December. Part of me thinks we will, part of me doesn't. I think it'll be very close. I think it'll be very, very close. But anyway, join our Discord server. There's a link for it in the description. Always a good place to chat and talk about the chapters that we just discussed, or anything Harry Potter in general. Talking about the TV show or what we love about the movies. We're going to talk about the 4th movie after we finish this book, as per tradition. I'm already getting the artwork ready for Book 5, Order of the Phoenix, which is, I think, maybe the biggest book in the series. So the show, I almost said the series grows up a bit, but so do we in Order of the Phoenix. And we still got a few chapters left, two episodes for this book left we're going to be doing. So again, thanks for listening. This has been your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. And until next time, wands down, hearts full.